Lily was feeling a little jealous of Phoebe until Penny stopped by to offer Kevin some water. Then she invited Kevin to dinner as a peace offering for not believing his explanation of how he'd ended up with her phone. Lily had promised herself not to let anyone try to break up her relationship with Kevin, so she took the initiative and held Kevin's hand. "Hubby, your classmate's offer sounds wonderful. Let's take her up on it." Then Lily looked over at Phoebe and added, "Why don't you come along too, Phoebe? It's always a lot more fun to have a big group." Kevin was pleasantly surprised to hear Lily talking so kindly and gently. This was the first time he'd seen her like this in all the years they'd been married. Just as Kevin was about to nod his head and agree to the plan, a sharp sword suddenly flew toward them from nearby. Kevin saw that it was about to hit Phoebe's shoulder, so he jumped up off the ground and leapt in front of her. At the same time, he reached out and snatched the sword. Who the hell would do something as mindless as that? With all these people around, you could kill someone, Kevin thought to himself. He tossed the sword onto the ground just as a tall, rugged man with an incredibly guilty look on his face ran over to them. The man calmly picked the sword up off the ground and said very apologetically, "I'm really sorry about that. It accidentally slipped out of my hand while I was practicing. I'm so glad I didn't hurt anyone." He was Frank Carter, one of the martial arts instructors at the School for the Healing Arts. Although Frank was acting like a very friendly and easygoing guy, he was actually being pretty hypocritical. On the first day of school, he'd noticed Lily and Phoebe and had a crush on both of the women, but he'd never found a good excuse to go up and talk to either of them. When he saw Lily and Phoebe sitting with Kevin, Frank absolutely lost it. "You really should be more careful when you're practicing your sword techniques. Even though you're an instructor, you still could hurt someone," Kevin grumbled. "You're absolutely right. I'll try to pay attention next time." Frank replied cheerfully, but he was actually cursing Kevin under his breath. "Who the hell do you think you are to teach me a lesson? Just see how I'll deal with you later." Then Frank turned around and walked away while he continued to show off his sword moves for the group of young students who had been watching him. Frank's interruption really ruined Kevin's mood, but he still thought he'd be a fool to pass up a chance to have Penny treat him. "So it's a plan. Let's all go out and have dinner tonight." "Okay," Penny agreed right away. Then she eyed Lily and Phoebe before walking off the training field. Suddenly, Lily hugged Kevin's arms and pouted slightly. "Why is Penny treating you to a meal? Is there something going on between the two of you that you're keeping from me?" Phoebe also stared at Kevin and wondered what the deal was. In the face of stiff competition like Penny, she and Lily were kind of on the same side now. Right then, a stone hit Lily really hard on the shoulder and she winced in pain. Kevin knew right away who'd done it, and he was really pissed. Frank jogged over to them with a big smile on his face. His apology really sounded sincere. "Sorry, Lily. I hope I didn't hurt you. The students asked me to demonstrate a throwing technique and it got away from me. Did it hurt a lot?" Then he added, "I can show you a special massage that'll make you feel better before you know it." But Frank didn't care whether Lily felt better or not. He started to reach out to touch her shoulder, but Lily pulled back. Before Frank even got near her, Kevin grabbed his wrist and snarled, "I think you're looking for trouble." "You really should show more respect to your teachers," Frank shouted angrily. "Respect you? For what? Are you even qualified to be teaching here? Apologize to my wife immediately or you'll regret it," Kevin threatened him. "What did you just say? There's a little too much noise out here. I didn't hear you clearly." Frank tilted his head and whispered into Kevin's ear. "I was telling you to apologize. Or don't you understand plain English?" Kevin roared back. The commotion started to draw a crowd of onlookers. "Am I seeing things? Is this guy actually starting a fight with a martial arts instructor?" One of them asked the other. They were all certain that Kevin would be absolutely destroyed by Frank. After all, he was good enough to be on the school's faculty. They figured that the best outcome for Kevin was that he'd end up in the hospital. Sherwin Blair squeezed through the crowd and shouted at Kevin, "You're getting more and more cocky all the time, you..." "Frank's our martial arts teacher, you goof. Do you have any idea how much trouble you're getting into? If I were you, I'd immediately let go of his wrist and beg for forgiveness. If you're lucky, maybe he'll let you go." Blair laughed. "Kevin, let's just forget about it. It really didn't hurt that much anyway." Lily pleaded with him. She was worried about what would happen to her husband, and she could tell that Frank was just looking for a fight. Plus, since he was an instructor, the school would probably take his side in the disagreement, and Kevin would be finished there. "No, Lily, if I don't teach him a lesson this time, he'll just keep doing this over and over," Kevin told her. He'd seen lots of people like Frank Carter, and he knew how it would go. "I'll tell you what," Frank retorted. "If you want to fight with me, that's what you'll get." Then he picked up a sword and pointed it right at Kevin. He didn't seem to care what he did to Kevin, he was so angry. The group of onlookers started to make a lot of noise. Phoebe and Lily were getting incredibly anxious. Both of them knew that Kevin could fight, but had he ever fought someone who was good enough to teach at the school for the healing arts? But Kevin wasn't afraid at all. His training in the herbal meds had given him incredible power, right down to his DNA. Frank was pretty impressive to beginners, but he wasn't a threat. In fact, the two of them weren't even on the same level. Just as Kevin was about to attack, everyone heard somebody shout, "Stop that right now! This is a university campus, not some back alley."
Hi, Kevin here. If you're wondering what happens next, then stay tuned on the Pocket FM Universe channel for more episodes.